So
anyway.
everything you're talking about here, like I feel like we just did
Mm-hmm.
an intro to personal finance, which we kind of did in a certain way, but it does require, for many authors, it requires a mindset
Yeah.
shift.
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm.
Um, Knowledge alone is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you say your money mindset will keep you at the income level that you're
Yes.
currently at.
Yeah.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
bold claim.
Yes, it's true
Um,
though.
what
Mm-hmm.
have you seen that makes you believe that so firmly?
Um, well, we have this kind of leveler within our mind, and there's so much our financial habits and our beliefs around money are formed so early in our lives based on our experiences, and it is an experience-based belief system based on what your circumstances were when you were brought up, um, and and it's also tied into what we believe we are worth. What is our self-worth? So if we don't believe that we are worthy of receiving that reward, then we will self-sabotage to make sure that we don't receive it. Um, and we have this thing called like a money equilibrium, which is the amount of money that you are comfortable with at any one time. So if you look in your bank account, what is your safe number? So for some people, that might be a negative number. They'll be like, okay, well, as long as my overdraft doesn't go over $1,000 or £1,000, right? I'm cool with that because it'll clear again when I get my wages at the end of the month, right? If it goes over that at the end of the month, if it's more than that, then you start to change your behavior a little bit to kind of bring it back up to where you want it to be. Um, for some people, it's like, unless I can put my hands on 50 grand cash at any one time, that's when I start to get a bit twitchy. Um,
Right.
but we have a level that we are comfortable at, and you might not even realize it until I tell you this, and then you will recognize your behavior, because if you start to build up surplus cash, suddenly you're a bit more spendy, like, yeah, let's
Yeah.
yeah, go for that holiday or that writer's retreat or that conference or those fancy book covers, or spend some more money on advertising, or like go and buy a new handbag. That's a very girly thing. That's what I do. That's why I said it. It's like every time I publish a book I buy a handbag, but that's another story. It's like my reward.
I buy another pair of black boots.
Yeah,
Mexico now, I wear none of them.
I know. I'm like, literally. Anyway, but until you shift your money equilibrium, you will hold yourself at that level. So even when
How
you
do you
start,
shift it?
you become conscious of it. Okay. And
Okay.
how I do it is because my money equilibrium, I used to be that person that was like, as long as it was no more than a minus 1,000, I was cool, because me overdraft, like would clear at the end of the
Yeah.
next paycheck, and then I'd be back there again. And then I got to where it was that when it was, I got it up to zero. So as long as my bank account never went overdrawn and I was at zero, then I was comfortable with that. But then as my life expanded, and particularly when I started to have children and things,
Yeah.
and I mentioned 2008 was a tough year for us. It was a really tough year. We were 10 days away from bankruptcy at one point. And I will never forget the phone call I got off my husband. We had a young child, two young children, but one like still in nappies. And he rang me from the supermarket and said, "There's £11 in the bank account. Am I buying formula or nappies tonight?" And I thought, Jesus, like, wow. And I was like, we can't carry on like this. So we squirreled away, because we became conscious of it and we set a goal. And the first goal was get out of debt. The second goal was build up a slush fund. Then the third goal was like pay off the mortgage, get the money invested in pensions and stuff like that. So we carried on living a very modest lifestyle even after our income started to increase, that allowed us to achieve those goals, which is why I set, like, become
Yeah.
conscious of it and then set a goal. And
But it's like you have to exercise it. It's not like
yeah,
you think about it
yeah.
one day. You have to
Mhm.
be really working. You have to be exercising that and thinking about the money and what your money goals are, and
Yeah.
your slush fund goals, your get out of debt goals, all that stuff every single day, taking baby steps
Not
towards
really
that.